So, it's an ethical dilemma. So in this country, you have to vote. So if you've registered to vote, so they say it's compulsory for everyone over the age of 18, but basically if you don't register to vote, they never ask you to vote. They never fine you for not voting. But, so it's an ethical dilemma who to vote for. So if you don't believe that they should be using flugel binders and you think it's a moral wrong to use flugel binders, but all their other policies you agree with except they use or abuse flugel binders, do you have an ethical or moral obligation to not vote those people in because of their use of a flugel binder? Now substitute anything you want, whether it be fiat currency, abortion, mandates for jabbies, whatever it is. And so that's the problem with compulsory voting, because if every single person running does something that you ethically or morally disagree with and can't condone, but you're forced to vote, you either are wasting everyone's time by not voting or still voting for people that aren't ideal. But if you're one of those people that just vote for a party because it's a party that you've always voted for, then I suppose it doesn't really matter. Ethics and morality probably don't enter your head in any way, shape or form unless you believe the garbage that is presented. See, political policies aren't like conventional advertising. Political advertising is, these guys are shit. Look how shit these guys are. We're not shit like those guys. All the parties do it. So basically, you've got to work out which giant steaming pile of poo you're going to vote for, or you're going to give some power to, or if you find people that you can tolerate ethically and morally, how can you possibly give them enough power? So they call, in Australia, it's always in a two-party preferred system, because we either have to vote for the commies or the not quite so commies, that are really only there for their own power. They enrich themselves drastically. They keep giving themselves pay rises, but then don't, well, have a moral objection to a minimum wage anyway, but they don't improve the lives of the common man, but they always promise to. That's the two main parties in this country. They're just as bad as one another in their own ways. So are there some other parties that have some decent ideas? There's the Watermelon Party. You can look up who I'm talking about. Then there's ones run by giant corporations or giant former billionaires. Giant because he's a big fat man, but anyway. So then there's parties run by former fish and chip shop owners that the media keeps presenting as being racist, because that's what the media does. And then you've got parties like, what are they called? The Liberal Democrats, that get frequently misrepresented, but it was their own stupid fault for using the word liberal in their name. So we've got the Liberal Party, and then we've got the Liberal Democrats. If you're not the same party, if you don't have the same ethical and moral foundations, if you don't espouse the same policies, if you're not after the same things, why name yourself that? So the only reason that I can think of, which then makes them not ethical within themselves, is to use the name of one of the two big parties in your name to confuse people to vote for you. Oh, they're the Liberal Party, but they're Democratic. So it's all a giant CF. Put random words in there. Think what you want. So that's what's going on in Australia at the moment. We've got this federal election. we're going to get one group of bad people that are pathetic and soft, or another group of bad people that'll just quickly make us even more indebted to China. They're basically what our options are. So, you like my really dirty chair? It's gone mouldy from sitting because it was in the shed and it got wet. And there was a damp patch and it looks disgusting. There was meant to be something covering it, but it fell off at some point. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. If you can't be good, be good at it. Be kind to yourself, be good to yourself, be good to each other. And since you have to vote for someone, just find the least objectionable policy makers, not the least objectionable person. Because unfortunately, a lot of politics is about charisma, not about ability, and not about policy. So if it turns out the sex party or the marijuana party or the family first party or one of these weird parties is the least objectionable to you, by all means vote for them. Any preferences that don't go to the main two parties, which are literally opposite sides of the same coin, any votes, any preferences that end up going to one of the minor parties might then allow them to hold the balance of power. I mean, they're still only going to be voting on policies that the two main corrupt institutions instigate and put forward, but that's the best that you can do in a democracy. So I can't remember who said it. I think it was Stalin. It's not who votes that counts, but who counts the votes. And that's all I've got to say about that.